Hey, it's Hunt. You found Hunt on Saints. We're talking black and gold football. Do us a favor. Hit the like button, share your comments below, and hit that subscription button so you can get all of our content. Enjoy. Some troubling news from out in Irvine. Got to get an update on that as Taliese Fuaga left practice today. Apparently a back issue, did not return, and that's not good for the Saints. They've got enough issues on their plate on the offensive line. Need to get that rectified as quickly as possible. Luke Johnson's been out in Irvine for a couple weeks now with the black and gold and joins us now on the Jim's Firearms Hotline. Luke, how are you?
I'm doing great, man. Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. What can you tell us about Fuaga leaving practice? What did you see, and what was the initial report?
Yeah, he left right after the individual period, which is, for those who are not aware, that's like right at the beginning of practice. They do their stretch, and then they go through individual work, and then they kind of go into the team stuff and special teams. So he left very early in practice, and Dennis Allen said he kind of noticed him looking a little tight during the stretch. So obviously we're going to keep an eye on it. I think not only has he looked good, he's been one of their better offensive linemen, and they've obviously had a little bit of trouble on the other spots. So like losing a left tackle, a rookie left tackle who's been playing very well, would be really bad for this team. So I can't say anything about the severity of it. He might be back out there at practice tomorrow for all I know. But it is definitely something that we got to keep a very close eye on because it's really important to what they do.
What's plan B at left tackle?
It's a good question, man. I think today they had Landon Young taking most of the first team reps out there. He's a big drop down. I like Landon Young. He's a good swing tackle for him, but that's like such an important position. And when you're already kind of dealing with some weak spots at other places, you can deal with one weak spot, and 2 weak spots makes it really tough. But if you got three, it's going to be hard to function as an offense. So that's plan B right now. We'll see where this ends up going.
What about Oli Udoh? Where has he been most of the time, and what can you tell us about him?
He's been kind of all over the place. He's done some right guard, he's done some left guard, he's done some right tackle, done some left tackle. I think he is still working his way back from that injury that basically cost him all of last year. I think he only played in 2 games last year, and didn't really participate much in the summer program. And they kind of brought him along slowly once they got to training camp. He's still got like a ways to go, I think. He's been a good player in the league before, and he's somebody that obviously gives them versatility. I mean, I just talked about him being at 4 different positions in camp, but like I just feel like there's still some stuff he needs to catch up on. So like I think if they had to play Sunday without Fuaga, or if they had to play a regular season game without Fuaga, I think I'd be going toward Landon Young before Oli Udoh.
Is this a crisis right now? I mean, I don't know another way to ask that question.
If Fuaga needs to miss significant time with this, yeah, it definitely is. It's just Penning has been not good over right tackle, and I think his struggles over there have kind of drawn attention away from left guard, which I think has been just kind of average throughout camp. And if you start talking about taking another starter away from there, I mean that's like I really don't know how they would function offensively. They can only scheme up so much if their line is not clearing holes for the running game and protecting the quarterback. So I mean we'll wait and see what happens with Fuaga. But if he's out there, I think they can be functional and they can be okay. And if he's not, or McCoy or Cesar Ruiz, I think they're in trouble.
Do you think Trevor Penning is going to be the starter at right tackle in Week 6?
Oh, if you had said Week 1, yeah. Week 6, I've honestly no idea. I think they're trying to be as patient as they possibly can be with him. And they're saying all the right things about him. They're saying good things about him, but they've already come out and said that they're trying to keep his confidence up. And are public comments part of that? It's kind of hard to read between the lines sometimes. So you see him out there, and he does do some good stuff, right? It's just unfortunately for an offensive lineman, like your 2, 3, 4 bad plays are really magnified. They'll blow up plays. There'll be negative plays for the offense, and when you're the tackle out in space, it is pretty easy to say it's on you. So yeah, I have no idea. I think he's definitely gonna be the starter in week 1. But beyond that, I have no idea. They might be forced to try to sign somebody and fill him in. I mean, Cam Irving was a guy who was on the street last year, who ended up starting football games for him because they couldn't trust Trevor Penning to play right tackle or left tackle for him. It could really go anywhere. If the light bulb finally clicks, then sure, he'll be their starting right tackle. But it's just hard to say that's going to happen right now.
Chatting with Luke Johnson, covers the Saints for The Advocate, at by Luke Johnson on Twitter, with us every single Thursday. Look, the first team offense looked pretty clunky against Arizona, but as we talked to a couple of people that have been out there like you have, they didn't really show anything. So any concern with that, or do you think there's going to be any more of what you all have seen in practice in the game on Sunday, or are we just going to have to wait for week 1 for that?
I think we're going to have to wait till week 1 to really see what this offense can do. There are some things that look different from what they've done in the past, right? I think weirdly enough, they threw a lot more of that stuff out there with the second and third team offense than they did with the first team. But I'm not ready to say I'm sounding the alarm bells after 2 preseason drives. It's like they went out there 1 preseason drive last year with the starting offense, and they looked like world beaters, and then they didn't play again, and then they didn't play well for 12 weeks. So I try to take everything that we see with a grain of salt in the preseason, and just kind of trust what we're seeing out there in practice. I think what we're seeing is an offense that can be very good and also can struggle. Yeah, they've been pretty inconsistent throughout camp. They've had some really big highs and some pretty disconcerting lows. So I think that's just going to kind of be who they are, unless the offensive line really starts gelling and playing well together, particularly in pass protection.
Is there an upper hand in the backup quarterback battle?
I really don't think there is. I mean, if I were to say it right now, I'd say probably Jake Haener. I know people are really, really into Spencer Rattler, and it was really exciting seeing what he did in the preseason game, leading the game-winning drive. But Haener is such a confident player, and he really fits well in what they're asking him to do in this offense. You can see it when he's on the field. He knows where he wants to go with the football, and he processes defense as well. And he's got a much better arm than I think people give him credit for. We saw him today, and I don't know if he had a ball that hit the ground that wasn't a drop today. He was putting it on the spot. He was throwing deep outs, and he had a play today where, they were calling this inside zone run, and it's a goal line play, and he saw the defense all crouching in, and he didn't tell anybody he was doing it, not the running back, not the offensive line, nobody. He just pulled the handoff out, and the defense all crashed in trying to tackle the running back, and he just walked it in the end zone for a score. I mean, that's a kind of heads up type of play that I think kind of gives him the edge, but Rattler's looked really good at times, really good. He's got a really big arm. I just don't think he's been quite as consistent. He could probably use some seasoning.
What do we think about Sunday's game against San Francisco? We'll see a little bit more of the starters, about the same, and obviously you don't know that, but what are you looking at?
Yeah, I think I was kind of surprised they let him go as long as they did last week. If they're kind of going off the same schedule they went on last year, we won't see him at all on Sunday. But I think that this is a different situation where you got a new play caller, and you do want to see the offense have some success. You want to see what the first team defense looks like together. You're going up against a really good San Francisco team who's dealing with injuries of its own and might not play its starters, but they're still a well-coached football team, and you kind of want the measuring stick a little bit. So I wouldn't be surprised if we saw him back out there again this Sunday. But then again, Dennis Allen's not going to let us know anything. So I was pretty confident that Derek Carr and the rest weren't going to play on against Arizona, and they did. So I'm not going to make any grand predictions on your show this time.
That is understood. Any news that they've given you, or any guys that you've seen on the injury front, whether it's Lattimore, Kendre Miller? I mean, there's a long list at this point. None of it seems like it's really significant into the season, but like, is anybody kind of pushing towards coming back?
Yeah, I think a lot of the guys we've seen miss time. Maybe could be back as soon as next week. Lattimore is one I'm less confident about. He's been out at practice. He's done a little bit of work off to the side, but we've seen guys like Paulson Adebo and Kendry Miller and Pete Werner, Mason Tipton, who got off to a great start in camp and had injured his hamstring. We've seen all these guys just while the team is doing its own work, they're off working with athletic trainers. They're going through drills, and usually that's a pretty good sign that a player is getting close to being back to the field. So getting healthier, but they're still pretty banged up right now. I mean, our list is like 15, 17 players long.
None of it seems too serious, but it's just a lot. So we'll see how that goes. We'll enjoy the football on Sunday, and we'll talk to you next week from back in Louisiana.
Yeah. My wife and child are very happy about that.
I'm sure you are too.
Yeah, me too.
We'll talk then, Luke. Thanks.
Later, buddy.
Luke Johnson, Saints beat reporter for The Advocate, with us every single Thursday. Hey, it's on. Thanks for watching Hunt on Saints. Before you leave, help us out a little bit. Hit that like button, leave your comments in the section below, and hit that subscribe button so you get all our content right here from Hunt on Saints. We'll see you next time.